Emmanuel Efeni, is on standby to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world. Emmanuel Efeni, great Malabite, good morning.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Victoria Tundu MKO Abiola. I cannot forget that when tomorrow is June 12th. Now, Ruben and Tundu, yes, you were there. It was surprising to many Nigerians that two alumnus of Aso Villa were part of the interview panel. Well, Tundu was there to neutralize that Aso Villa influence. And of course, Prince Nduka Obaegbena was there also to neutralize the Aso Villa influence.
Mr. Feni, did Tundu neutralize the Aso Villa influence?
She did.
Because she's Aso bound, though. She was Aso bound if June 12th did happen, though.
She did.
I wasn't I?
Tundu is the daughter of the former president of this country, if June 12th did happen.
The best president we never had.
Yes, we never had. So she did neutralize the influence.
Well, let's start the review with this day. But expectedly, almost all Nigerian newspapers dwelt on the Buhari interview, and of course, President Muhammad Buhari in Lagos to commission projects yesterday. Perhaps one of the best outing of the president, hogging the limelight, if you will. But let's look at how this day starts this report. Buhari approves more personnel, salary increase for police force. In Arise News exclusive interview, President orders security agencies to be ruthless. Ruthless, now a synonym for the language they understand, if we go by the Buhari lingo. Now, the Guardian newspaper also reporting the interview. Buhari, federal government will reclaim grazing routes for herders. Asks Attorney General to commence recovery process. Federal government sets up account on Indian coup as Buhari keeps mom on Twitter ban. Reiterates shoot at sight directive to security agencies. Respect your citizens' rights. Reverse Twitter suspension. U.S. tells federal government. PDP falls president on infrastructural achievement. Indigo. Town unions decry Buhari's stance on Igbo. Now, the Nation newspaper reporting this, what transpired yesterday. Insecurity, shoot on sight, still in force, says Buhari. President inaugurates Lagos-Ibadan rail, Sanwo-Olu security equipment. Maritime security project takes off. Lagos mention, not reference to Tinubu. I don't know why the presidency this time is making clarification on what the president said. That should be left to the interpretation of all listeners, if you will. But the Daily Sun, again, Buhari restates shoot on sight order, while the News Direct newspaper, Buhari directs security personnel to shoot AK-47 illegal owners. The Daily Trust newspaper has story from that interview. Headers back Buhari as Afenifere Ohaneze reject grazing routes recovery. That's the Daily Trust newspaper. But a different story, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, lead story. After 8 hours meeting, OBJ, Abdul Salami, Oni, Sultan, others to meet Buhari, Afenifere Ohaneze Ndigbo, ACF, NLC leaders in attendance. Insecurity, our people are now afraid to visit their farms. Fayemi, El-Rufai, two governors speaking there. Now this meeting by these former leaders and other statesmen took place yesterday under the aegis of the Committee for the Goodness of Nigeria. They have not made their position from that meeting public. they want to see the president directly, perhaps convey their views to him before making such views public. But coming to this, to the interview, I just want to make two quick interjections there because a lot have been said about some of the views held by the president there. One, the president perhaps does not mind being archaic or anachronistic because for him to uphold and promote open grazing when governors from the south, from the north, have said no, open grazing is outdated, and they are all rooting for ranching as the best way to go. Best practices all over the world. But the president is saying he wants to recover grazing routes. That in itself shows perhaps the president is not in tune with global best practices. But surprisingly, his own cattle don't roam. They are well catered for. Hence, he said after office, he will be visiting his cattle regularly. Tundu, you asked that question about what the president will do. You even suggested presidential library, which is the norm amongst presidents these days. But he said no, he will be visiting his cattle. He is still a farmer. Yet he wants the ordinary Fulani man to be trekking on cattle routes from the north to the south. President, think again on this matter. The second issue is justified, of course, the appointment of persons from certain areas as the chief of army staff. He was specific. And the argument he put forward, which was an argument I used earlier when Major General Yahya was appointed, that somebody who has the cognate experience because he has been in the theater of war, especially in these times we are. But again, somebody punched that argument. Ekede, our anchor yesterday, why is it that it's certain people from certain areas that are also in the theater of war? Now, that is a valid question. But if you look at the redeployment just done only yesterday by the Nigerian army, and I refer to the Nation newspaper on page 3, army redeploys 11 generals in shake-up. I just look at this paragraph. Those affected in the reorganization include Major General F.O. Omoigui from Headquarters Theater Command, Operation Hardened Kai, to Land Simulation Center. So he has been taken, Omoigui has been taken out of the theater of war to land forces. Now, the next, Major General C.C. Musa has been taken to the theater of war.
Emmanuel Efeni, well,
yes.
You know, we don't have more time on our hands. As Tundon will say about that analogy cake, you've taken the whole chunk of the cake in this segment. But quickly, tomorrow is June 12th, a major turning point in 1993 in Nigerian history. And there have been threats that persons will go onto the streets to protest, to cause mayhem, but all of us should remember that it's Democracy Day, a day of reflection. It's a day when history should be retold. That day when a Muslim ticket won the election in Nigeria across all eyes, and Chief MKO Abiola emerged as president of Nigeria. That was annulled by President Muhammadu Buhari 3 years ago, turned things around and recognized the legitimate winner of that election and went for that to give him the highest national honor in Nigeria, the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. But tomorrow, Arise News will be focusing on that in great detail. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Efeni.